Alright, it's time to start another stream. And yeah, my stream is working. Now let me just get some headphones so I can listen to music without having to fear copyright consequences during the stream. In this stream I'm going to rewrite some stuff in my current plugin template, but first of all I have to select some music. What kind of music should I select? I found something. Oh, I got a Wackelkontakt on my headphones. I can only hear one side. There
what
it
could
is,
I say
that
after
side.
it was done? What could I say to you crouched in the leaves?
Okay, first of
crying,
all I have to check if any of
as
the
though
music
the
is
only thing
going
you had to give away
to
was
the
gone
stream.
now.
I hope not.
There are no words.
Is the music going to the stream or not?
You were smiling before, but passion chases even smiles away.
No, it shouldn't.
And even when it's done, even afterward, lovers are as far apart as they were before.
Oh wait, what actually do I stream? Do I stream the mic or do I stream everything that goes out of the like out of Windows? I want to know now. I think I have to open my own stream to find out, even though this will take a little while till I can actually get started, but I just need to know now. What so now if the music ends up in the stream, I should hear it like a feedback. I want to know now. I think I have to open my own stream to find out. Okay, let's find out. This will take a little while till I can actually get started, but I just need to know. Man, this thing has quite some latency. Ah, fuck, it is in the stream. So now, if the music, man, I cannot listen to music while streaming. I should hear it like a feedback. Okay, I guess I cannot listen to music while streaming then. Whatever. Then I will just code like this. Okay, so again, my idea is that I wanna change something about my parameters. I guess I should show a little bit of what's going on practically. So here is my plugin template. It says 2023 because I started in the beginning of this year to rewrite it, and I'm still not done, even though the year has almost ended, because I had some other stuff to do. But now I'm actually so far that I have my parameters on the interface again, but there is a problem, and you might have noticed this in a lot of my plugins, that I always have the same visuals for my knobs, and that was not just because I wanted to have a common identity for like throughout all of my plugins, but just because the code that I wrote kinda made it easier to stick to a single design than to have it separated, because I kinda put all of the functionality of a parameter and the way it paints into the same, let's say, creating parameter function, and now I want that to be separated, and that's what I'm working on currently. So here is what I currently have right now. I have a knob, and the knob class just has overrides the mouse functions, because this is just for the functionality of a knob, like to the minimum. This knob doesn't even know what its value is, or that it could be a parameter. It really just knows that things can enter, things can exit. Sometimes it's a little bit more complicated, like mouse down, where it saves a position and the last position. This is needed for if the knob is moving on the interface while you are dragging it. I had something like that in the plugin ADSR, because these knots that you could turn around were also knobs. And yeah, mouse drag. So there is actually some functionality here. It's not completely useless, but still this thing doesn't know a lot about what it's supposed to do. Then there is a mod dial, which also inherits from knob. I should show it. It is this thing for the modulation, just like it says mod dial, and you can change the remapping curve with it. In my last plugin template, this just drew the letter M, but now I changed it to draw this nice little curve, just like in Andrew Huang Transit, because that was actually a great idea of whoever designed that plugin to do it like that, because it just describes what the thing is doing, which I find very nice. So the mod dial now has its own class. That was before, that wasn't the thing. I just, in my last template, I just had a knob, and then there was a huge free function that generated a parameter from the knob, and the knob had another pointer to another knob, and this other knob was a mod dial. And yeah, it was really messy. The way I'm doing it right now is much better. And the knob param is actually the parameter of the knob, and it has its mod dial in it, just as a normal member variable. No crazy pointer stuff. The only crazy thing here is that you have multiple parameters that you can attach to a single knob, because I needed that in the plugin Manta, where you can drag around these EQ nodes, and when multiple EQ nodes are selected, then the knobs below represented multiple parameters at once, of course. So this is something that I also took from my last approach, but this time it looks much cleaner. And what this class now does is, I'm just saying that for myself basically, so that I can get better into this project again. This thing currently just has this method attach parameters, which is my custom parameter attachment method where everything is defined. Oh, this looks like it's just a placeholder, but yeah, I'm not done with this thing yet. For example, here in the onDrag method, it's like getting the speed of the drag and the drag value, and then for looping through all the parameters and add the drag value to the parameter value and then set it again. I have this nice little method here, set value from editor, and it differs from the normal set value method that parameters usually have, just in the way that it temporarily turns off any parameter locks, because that means I can lock a parameter and still drag it, so that locking is only really meant to lock randomization or preset changes. Yeah, I find that to be a good implementation for locks. If I only have one viewer right now, but if you think that locks should do something else, then let me know. I just feel like this should be what a lock is doing, but it's not something that I'm super 100% sure about yet. Okay, so now let's just check if there is anything left here that kind of belongs to look and feel, that actually belongs out of this method and into my knob painter basic struct, which currently has on layout, on resize, and on repaint, on paint as member variables, and also whatever custom stuff depends on this specific kind of painting a knob. And later in the stream, I also wanna write a new class like this for a completely new design in order to test how flexible it is, or if I get to any like limitations with this approach. Okay, so just a quick rundown my parameter attachment to test if I find anything suspicious. Parameters are cleared, parameters are reserved, parameters, getting the parameters into my parameters vector, okay, or actually pointers to them. Set tooltip, yeah, that's correct. Make text label. I think the last argument here is actually the tooltip as well. So let's see. Oh, why does it not tell me? Yeah, that's the last argument is the tooltip. So I can just get the tooltip here. Oh, that's not a thing, so maybe I can just do this. Yeah, I can. Right. So main parameter, this is definitely related to the GUI but not in the sense how it draws the thing, but if there are multiple parameters represented by this parameter attachment, then only the first parameter in the array will be the one that is drawn to the screen. The other one can just feel like they are meant as well. So here we have a little method for the label, draw value to label func. So that's one of the things I'm insecure about for now, which is just like whether or not I want the label of a parameter to be part of the knob param class, because the knob itself does not have a label, because it's really just the knob and its functionality, but the knob parameter has this label in order to show both the name and the value, like depending on whether or not you are hovering or dragging this thing. That's something that I had in my last plugin template as well, and I found that it was very useful. But I don't know if I want to do this in general for all kinds of parameters that I will design. It would be, maybe it's a little bit of a limiting this decision to let the limiter, let the label be part of knob param instead of the painter. If it was part of the custom painters that I'm going to make, then it would be more flexible. But yeah, for now I think I will just stick to it, because usually you do want to have a label on parameters, and if I don't want to have it at any point, maybe I can just set it then to not visible. It would be kind of a hack, but let's just consider that for now, because I want to quickly go on to actually designing something from scratch. That's something that I'm looking forward to. Anyone around? Oh, 4 viewers. You can say hello in the chat, you know. I have you on my other screen. And then we can have a bit of a talk. Okay, so on down, going through parameters. That's nothing that has to do with the way it's visualized. Okay, on wheel also. All very functionality stuff. Now here's something that is functionality, but it's also makes a difference visually. The macro knob does not have a modulation dial. So, you know, because the macro defines how all of the other parameters are modulated. So it wouldn't make sense if the macro itself had a modulation dial. What would it even mean? It modulates itself or something? That makes no sense. So if there is no macro, then make the modulation dial visible and attach the parameters to it, so that the modulation dial knows what's going on. And then there is the callback, which checks for the values of the main parameter, and then it repaints. So this is also not different in different kinds of custom draw thingies. So yeah, it seems like the only thing really that can be considered not part of this thing maybe is the label. I have to keep that in mind for my future attempt to change this. Okay, so now the first thing I want to do is actually testing if this stateful thingy also works if I have multiple parameters that use it. Currently I have 2 instances of it, one for the macro and one for the other thing, but now I will make a third parameter and also attach the second thing to it, so that I can test if that works very well. Because I want to make some optimizations later, so that it can, you know, that one single thing that holds state can represent multiple knobs. That would be kind of cool if that was a thing. So let's quickly find out which other parameters we have here which we could implement. Gain out. Yeah, I could add the gain out knob. Why not? Okay, so this will be the gain out knob. Boom. Okay, now here add and make visible gain out knob, blah blah blah. GitHub Copilot knows what I want to do in moments like these. Okay, gain out paint. Okay, now it correctly suggested that I want to use the painter knob. Great, I have to add another space for this knob. Let's just say it is as big as the first thing that I had. I don't know. Let's just try. So blah 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 blah. It will be here. Okay, that should be all that is used for now. Hello from Germany back to Israel. Nice to see you around. So now we have multiple knobs and they share the same painter thingy, so that already works. Yeah, totally. But now we have to try if actually like we can do things with it that would mean that they need their own state, even though they share like the same class. And in order to do that, I will have to make one of these considerably bigger. The middle one will now be much bigger. Because I already have a bit of state in here. I have the knob bounds, which are in the onResize method. And we can see that doesn't work. It doesn't like that. So we cannot just let two things share the same kind of state right now, because it will just get messed up. I think that does make a lot of sense, because there is no guarantee that after each resize call the onPaint method will come immediately. So I guess what's really going on here is that that it resized the parameters like one by one, this one, this one, and this one, and this was the last one that was resized. So the knob bounds were saved from this one, and that's why this one is painted so small. So I wish I knew how it's done in Juice Look and Feel class. Does anyone know? Because I actually want to do something that feels a little bit like the Look and Feel class, where I can have stateful look and feel. I don't know. That would make a lot of sense, because I have a lot of stuff in my paint methods that is like a lot of these kind of calculations that rely on geometric things like radius, blah blah blah. Of course, it's all geometric things when you have a fully resizable interface. Look how broken this is right now. So it would be cool if I could put a lot of these stuff into onResize out of onPaint, so that repainting is kind of a cheap operation, especially when I come up with some more complex designs at some point. So how does Juice Look and Feel probably do the thing that you can have one look and feel for multiple things, but without them getting in the way state-wise? Or I think even Look and Feel can't do that if I'm thinking about it the right way, because you kind of have to have multiple look and feels if you want multiple things to look different. If I remember correctly, I haven't used Look and Feel for a long time. Would have been kind of cool if there would be a better solution for that. That kind of like mixes the fact that you only have one object, and for some reason the ability to have multiple states. Maybe I can come up with something like that later. But for now, I will just make another Look and Feel. So I should probably rename this. Now, knowing that I cannot share these, I will have to, oopsie, no, not this one. Knob Painter Basic, so Painter Slew and Painter Gain Out. They each have to have their own look and feel now, unfortunately, if I want to optimize what's going on in them. Painter. I don't like it how it is currently, because it requires a lot of writing for something that is just repetitive. Obviously, that's not very cool, but I just want to play with this right now. Painter Slew, Painter Gain Out. So now this should fix the thing, and now it works again if I'm not mistaken. Coming up with good code in for me is just a lot of trial and error. I'm not very methodical about that. I'm just trying things, and then at some point it will make kind of sense. Okay, so this works, as we can clearly see. So at the moment it just works when everything has its own thing, unless you know that two things have exactly the same size, which is kind of silly, and so it can be disregarded. Now let's try to actually find something to optimize. For example, I want to know which kinds of these thickness values I'm actually using in this method. I have 2, 3 and 5. Let's find out which ones we use. Thick with 4. Okay, so thick 2 is used, and 5 and 3 is used. So I'm actually using all of these, and I'm even using one more. I'm using the one called 4. That's very inconsistent. I don't plan on keeping this method the way it is, but I just want to play around, as I said before. So now we have different kinds of thickness values. So these could already be outsourced as like member variables. Okay, I have to rewrite them a little bit. Okay, what do we have? 3, 4 and 5. Oopsie. Of course, this is float now. Okay. Yeah. And of course, these are now member variables. So now in theory, I now save the CPU for calculating these thickness values. I don't know if that matters at all, but it's just for testing what I can do with my structure. So now let's look at this thing. It still does the same thing, but just some of the things now have a different color. And it should work. Yeah. It still does the same thing and it works fine. If I resize the interface, it of course still works because it calls resize before paint. Yeah. So this is definitely like already a good feature for my new kind of look and feel thingy, so that I can like outsource some calculations to a method that is not called as often. That's something that I couldn't do in my plugins for a while now. Okay, great. I don't have to go through this whole class now and optimize everything away, but I could imagine, since like basically everything in this whole method is geometric stuff, I could make this really small, which is kind of cool. Now the next thing is coming up with a new painter from scratch to find out how it feels to use this as a workflow. I always want my programming workflow to be pretty cool. So we will make a painter now that I don't know yet what's going to do. So let's just call it I don't know. So it is a knob param painter. What I like about this more than juice look and feel is that the thing that we are inheriting from is actually part of the thing that we are designing and not some outsourced thing. I don't know why look and feel does that. Maybe I will find out. Wait, does this thing have a constructor? No, it doesn't. So that's already nice for the workflow. I'm not forced to use this at all. I can just keep this empty for now. I just want to know how easy it is to do things. And all I have to do is really implementing on layout, on resize, and on paint. For on layout, I think I will just use the same thing as before. Just so that I have a nice starting point for now, because that means that my label will be at the same point and the log thingy will also be at the same point. So knob painter, I don't know. Let's already put that here for the gain out parameter. Oopsie. Painter gain out. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Okay, nice. Everything else should be the same still. No, there is no input to this class. This class doesn't want to know if this is a macro or not. Let's keep it simple. Like, one of the cool things about rewriting all of the things that Juice already gives you from scratch is that you understand a lot about their decisions. For example, I always wondered why look and feel requires to be something that is sent to the things as a pointer. But I ended up having to do the same thing because for a very easy reason. I wanted things to be stateful. So I had this knob bounce here, and for some time I got some errors because at the beginning I decided that painter is a member variable of its knob parameter. And then whenever the plugin hit paint and then called the onPaint method, it got into the onPaint method. And when I used the stack thingy to, stop the processing here and looked at the values, they were all garbage values because and I found out it was because knob bounce had garbage values in it as well. And the reason for that was that this thing is a painter and not a knob painter basic. So at this point the painter cannot know what is going to be with the children of this class, what they will have as values. But when it is a pointer, it doesn't need to know that there will be inherited classes. So it can still work with the objects in it. And that's why these kind of things have to be pointers. So that's something that surprised me and made me appreciate look and feel by Juice much more. But there are still some open questions. For example, when you're working with look and feel in the Juice project, it always forces you to null pointer the look and feel in the destructor of the editor. And I'm still wondering why that is the case. If they just... Was ist klar bei dir? Ich muss gerade einen Monolog führen hier, weil ich Stream mache. Katze. Where was I? The look and feel class. Yeah, it has to be... In the destructor, it has to be removed by setting the set look and feel to null pointer again. And I always wondered why. I still don't know. I didn't run into the need to do that myself yet. But I guess I will find out at some point. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. So this is a little explanation of this. Now knob painter, I don't know. Do I already use it? I think I don't. No. So here it is. Oh, actually, yeah, this is already the right value. So now we should see something that only draws the label, but already has the right functionality. Oh, no label. And I don't know if the functionality works because I don't see anything. It would be cool if I would see the label now. Oh, I know why I don't. It's because I don't have an on-resized method yet. So let's copy something else from the other thing, which is the resizing of the label. And from there we will actually be a little bit more flexible. So where do I set the label? Okay, so there is no knob bounce here. Where do I use the thickness? I used it in the knob bounce. Okay. Well, let's actually just look at this, how it is right now. Okay, now we can clearly see that I changed the value from my gain parameter, which is nice. It draws the modulation dial thingy. It does look pretty crappy though. Why does it look so crappy? Is it because the parameter is small, and in that case I have to redesign the mod dial to also work with small looking knobs more? But that's a problem for a different day. Today I wanna finally implement something fun. So I start by giving this also the knob bounce, so that I can have something to work with in the paint method. And now I'm getting started. Finally, it's time. What were the arguments of the paint method again? The knob parameters and the graphics. Okay, cool. Sweet. So now, just in order to check if it works, let's draw something with an interactive color, the color that represents interactive things. We will draw an ellipse. Yeah, why not? What? No. The knob bounds are part of this thing. Okay, so now we should see something that does not represent a parameter value yet, but just a circle. Yeah, a filled circle. And it is a perfect circle, it's not an ellipse, because the knob bounds are like a quadratic rectangle. Because I set this to true, my layout class. When this is true, then this is a quadratic rectangle, which is very useful for knobs, of course. So fill ellipse. Actually, I want to use draw ellipse. And now the next thing I need is the thickness value. So let's start with the thickness. Yeah. Now I got the thickness value in here as well. Looks a little bit nicer, I guess. Cool. I don't know. Oh yeah, it overlaps with the mod dial, and this one would do that as well if it was a full circle. That's why I was just a little bit confused. It doesn't look very nice with a full circle when it does the thing. But yeah, let's just solve that some other time. Now I want to get the main parameter value. Vals k values. This is a vector, so I should use a reference here, and the values should not be changed. Now I want to have the main parameter value, thanks GitHub Copilot, and this is a normalized value. So now I can do some cool stuff with that. For example, I can say I is 0. Let's define something. Num circles is, I don't know, 13 or something. And now I is smaller than num circles. I want to draw a bunch of circles based on the parameter value. Actually, let's choose a higher number. Val. And these should all be floats. I guess we are working with floats here. And now it's time to reduce the knob bounds. Maybe the thickness could also be multiplied with the parameter value, and the knob bounds reduced to delta. What could the delta be here? I want this to be bigger and bigger with every circle. First of all, we need the ratio between I and num circles, so that we get the value between 0 and 1. And now the delta is, what is this? What kind of suggestion is this? The thickness times the, no. It should be, let's see, the width and the height is the same thing in the knob bounds. So knob bounds get width times ratio. That sounds reasonable. Yeah, that should be the thing. Pretty cool. Pretty cool plug-in design. Pew, pew, pew. Trippy knob. You cannot easily see what the value is, but you can see if it's turned up or down. And it draws some nice aliasing patterns when you go to the really high values. Unfortunately, on 0 you cannot see the knob anymore, which is pretty unfortunate for a good knob design. Yeah. Okay, let's try some more stuff. This time is now multiplied with a value. Oh, also very interesting behavior. I kind of wouldn't have expected it to do exactly this. So now it fills to the inside the more I turn it up. I should make sure that there is always at least one circle though. How do I do that? So wait, ratio. -1. I think this should do the trick. No? Okay, then I guess going to the last circle does the trick, because then there is always at least one thing. Ah, I know. Something crashed. So whatever I did is a very bad idea. Okay. But I knew already what to do anyway. This needs to be thick plus knob bounds blah 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 minus thickness. Or do I have to put it here? Yeah, probably. Okay, and the thickness, same thing. Thickness plus thickness times a value minus thickness. Does that make sense? Oh, I hope it does. I mean, it does something, but it's still not visible on 0, on the parameter value 0. Why? Let's see. Maybe I have to keep this out of the equation. Maybe that cancelled out the thing. No. But maybe it's because I have it here still. So okay, now there is always at least thick and always at least thick in both of these arguments. So why would it not draw on 0? That's the big question. Oh, I think I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm actually stupid. Num circles is 1 plus this thing. That was the problem that I had. There always has to be at least one circle. I'm stupid. Definitely. Finally. So now I can always see the knob. And it does some buggy stuff on the highest value. Why does it do that? Let's choose less circles. What? Why would it suddenly draw a bunch of points that go away from the center? That does not make a lot of sense to me. But I accept it for now. Now for a parameter that actually has a stepped value, it would kind of make sense to have a design like this with a bunch of circles. Maybe one could do something like, okay, the number of circles depends on the parameter. How would I do that here? This would be not 15, but like num steps. So this would be from the parameters array, the first parameter, the main parameter, range, interval. Yeah. No, wait, that's just the interval. I need the number of steps. How to get? I mean, do I have to calculate that? I thought normalizable range has something like that for me. Would have been cool. Okay, I guess I have to be a little bit more creative with this. Wait, let's outsource some of this to make it a little bit less messy. Range, thanks. So I don't have to rewrite this over and over again. And now interval, thanks. And now the number of steps is what? No. Okay, what? Start, end. And now give me the number of steps, bro. What is this? Nice try. But there is no num steps. Okay, so I have to use my own brain, apparently. I mean, I could first define what the range is like, or the length, because we already have a value called range, is end minus start. By the way, are these float? Yeah. Okay, so that's nice. We can work with that. Now, num steps is length divided by interval. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for that. Now I can use num steps. So theoretically, this should now blow up extremely bad because there are no steps on this parameter. Either it's crashing because this value is 0, or it's -1, or it's some extremely large value like 1,000, million, whatever. Let's find out. Okay, the plugin froze, so I guess this was a very bad value. Now I want to know what it is. I want to find out what I just did. Num circles minus none, steps infinite, length 24, interval 0. Yeah, that makes sense. So, if interval is 0, something else, or actually if it's not 0 then something and else something else. How should I do that? Okay, wait. This is just about how many circles. Num circles. Let's say there is a value of 15, but if the interval amount is not 0, then it is the other stuff. Oh, wait. Okay, this is a little bit broken now. Could be written a lot smarter, but I just want to know. This is going to be at least one circle up to num steps circles. Yeah. Now I just need a parameter that I can actually test this on, because on my game parameter apparently this will just do the 15 thingy. Yeah. Okay, let's find out if we have something out of the box that we can use for that from the parameters that I haven't implemented yet. HQ is a thing between 0 and 1, so that would just be on off. Master tune. Do I have the Xen harmonic stuff in here? Yeah, I have. So this is definitely a step thing. We could use that. Let's try that. Xen knob. And of course, painter Xen. This is already getting pretty messy. I still don't like it. Okay. It will be next to the other thing, but it will be, let's actually put down the size of the middle thing again so that you can see everything a little bit better. Doesn't need to have different sizes at all, I think. Xen knob. Okay. Now we have something that is actually stepped, I think. No. No, this is still doing the 15 thing. Why? Why does it do that? I thought that this parameter has a stepped interval. Let's try to find out if I'm correct or if I implemented that wrong. Even though it's a little bit off topic for what I wanted to do in the stream. Or maybe it's not, because I do need to find out how to improve the workflows with this. So it would be confusing if the range thing that doesn't work. Okay, so what do we have here? Xen. Okay, I used the with central method. That's wrong, because it is a stepped thing. Or actually, I think I used the with central thing so that 12 is in the middle, which makes a lot of sense. But for this test, I wanna actually use the other thing. Oh wait, I have some step parameters here. Pitch bend range, reference pitch. Let's actually use these so that I don't have to mess with the things that are already fine-tuned. Pitch bend range. It's time for pitch bend range. PB. My personal best is this look and feel. Okay, painter, PB, PB knob. Hello, can you please work? Yes, you exist. Do your thing. Okay, whatever. PB knob. Hey, that's suspicious. Why does it not like that continuously? Did I make a mistake? PB knob. I called it PB knob. PB knob. Why would it think that it's not right? Huh? Okay, I guess I will find out later. Painter PB, and here pitch bend range. PB range. blah blah blah, pb knob. Of course it's still wrong, it's undefined for some reason, even though it's not. Yeah, it works. Okay, so that definitely works. So now it draws different amount of lines. 48 lines actually, to represent the amount of pitch bend range. So here we have, wait, that's the wrong amount of lines. Okay. Yeah, I mean, of course it is, because my method does the wrong thing. I do have to live with this thing actually drawing nothing. I mean, it's just a test anyway. Doesn't need to look perfect. Boom. And now it draws the exact amount of... Wait, what? That's... It draws a different value than what is being painted. Why? But wait, isn't there like a way better way to accomplish this? Just getting the denormalized value directly. Okay, params get val mod. No, wait, get val denorm. Yeah, that should pretty much solve it much more elegantly than working with the range. It's still wrong, but it at least looks a little better in the code. Why does it do the wrong thing? Why does it paint something else than it draws? Maybe I still have a mistake in the value to string function. I need to check that later. But yeah. Okay. Now I found out a lot of stuff about my custom look and feel, and I see I'm approaching an hour of streaming and no one is watching anymore. So I should make like a conclusion to that in case anyone is looking at it later on or scanning through for just the basic idea. Okay, what kind of conclusion could I make? First of all, it's nice that I can change the layout from this thing, even though I didn't experiment with that here in this particular painter, but I could easily do that. For example, I could make the things not overlap. Now the knob bounds will probably be a little bit too small, but still this would solve it. Now things don't overlap with the mod dial anymore, which is nice. So changing the layout is easy peasy with the knob painter. I don't know. The resize method, I can give it custom objects that are different for each kind of look and feel. That's cool. That's an improvement to my last way of making knob look and feels. Working with parameters is let's see, if I wanted to look at different parameter values than just the main parameter, I could loop through my parameters, I guess. I don't want to do that now, but I could do that. Working with the different kinds of parameter values like modulation is also easy because I can just use this enum for that. Actually, what's the exact name for it? Val types. So I could just use this enum and draw different kinds of values, which is nice for designing different kinds of knobs, but with the same interface in the code. I could pre-save certain things, like in this case. Maybe I could prepare an array, a dynamic array of bounds for these ellipses, so I don't have to calculate them over and over again with this reduced method, especially when there are a lot of circles. And all kinds of other stuff I could think of to improve in the designs I come up with in the future. And of course, I learned that I have to look a little bit closer to what my step parameters are doing, because apparently there is still a mistake somewhere. And also, this whole thing makes no sense. That's definitely not something that I will keep. But for a stream, it's okay. And what are the things that I still have to improve? I'm just talking to myself to make it a little more clear. The most annoying thing in this whole code structure that I have right now is, and I should be very honest about that with myself, that you have to keep all these objects around of different painters. How does look and feel solve it? That you have a single look and feel for multiple things? Or does it even solve that? Is everything breaking in the normal look and feel once you try to be a little bit stateful about the resize method? Do you also have to keep a lot of look and feels around then? I need to invest some time into checking that out, and if they solved it for some reason, then I can do too. And if they didn't, then maybe I still can solve this. If I'm just thinking about it hard, I just can't come up with a solution right now. But yeah, that's something that I want to improve. I don't like how this looks. It's a bit messy. But if I have to keep a lot of painters around, then I'm considering letting my component base class just have a vector of these things, so that I can make this a component functionality, or I still have to remove these kind of things. These are artifacts from earlier ideas that I had, like that every component can have a various amount of undefined stuff and also a various amount of undefined children. But I don't need that anymore, so let's keep it simple. Yeah, so I would love this to become simpler so that I don't have to make it a part of component. And yeah, that's still annoying. Oops, this is component, not editor CPP. So let's quickly go through editor CPP to find out if there was something annoying here as well. Okay, so these painters, some of them have input arguments, but the other one doesn't have them, which is kind of cool. That means it can be customizable, what kind of things construct the painters, and you can come up with creative input arguments for that. That's pretty cool. Could also imagine making some that work with images, for example. I haven't used images in a while. I would like to do that sometime. Macro knob, slew knob. Yeah, and the knob workflow is cool. I just give it the utils and that's it. Now the workflow of attaching a parameter. So the parameter attachments that I came up with are part of the parameters themselves, which is nice. It's nicer than in Juice, where you have to make a separate parameter Juice parameter attachment object. Also, it's a little bit more foolproof. A lot of people don't understand that they can make parameter attachments on the stack. They put them into unique pointers, and this is just a mistake that cannot happen with my code structure. It wouldn't happen to me anyway, but still. So attaching a parameter. giving it a name, giving it its ID, and giving it its painter. I mean, it still means that giving a parameter its painter and giving it its functionality is in the same process. But it also means that it's easy to just swap painters with other painters. And since the painters are defined before the attachment, it's not too much stuff in just one line. So I do like that. I do like that. If I decide to make certain painters that are just not relying on certain state, then I could even reuse them on different parameters. But I'm not sure. I think I don't plan to do that because I do like to save CPU in these kind of things. So yeah, overall I like this workflow. This part of the workflow is cool. Then in resized, I'm resizing things with my layout. That has always been cool. So this is not a problem. Okay, yeah, I have a viewer. Currently I'm just checking out what are the remaining problems of my custom look and feel thingy. And yeah, I think I can safely say that the only thing I can conclude that still kind of sucks is that you have to keep around a lot of objects of these painters. And if I manage to solve that somehow, then it's cool. If not, then I guess I can live with that, but yeah. And oh no, another view. I just wanted to go. I just wanted to leave. Sorry. Yeah, and I'm doing that now. See you next time.